Yeah, glad to have you join us for another edition of Hot Seats right here on Ogun State Television. I am Moses Ojewumi, and on the show today, my guest, a life member, African Center for Human Advancement, Social and Community Development. My guest holds a professional certificate in project management in global health from University of Washington. MA degree from diplomatic history from Obafemi University, a chartered member of Nigerian Institute of Mali, a whole lot where you are going to see that very shortly. His profile, but he's young, he's a politician, he's a senior legislative aide. So we have a lot to talk about. Who am I talking about here today is Honorable Akinyode Soyoye. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very kindly for having me.
Okay, thanks for coming. But let's get to see his profile extensively. And when we come back, yes, we ease the show properly. So please stay with us. Okay, many thanks for staying with us. That was the profile of my guest, Honorable Akinyode Soyoye. So you're welcome to the show once again.
Thank you for having me. It's really a great pleasure to be here.
I know when it comes to, you've started on the, youngness notes. When it comes to being young, there are various definitions. Some will say, who can we classify as a youth? Some between the ages of 19 and 25, UN. In fact, I could recall that there was a time Ministry of Youth Development brought it, backward a bit from 1935 to 19 to 29, thereabout. So who is a youth?
A youth is by age and by the Declaration of the United Nations, someone between the age of 18 to 35. However, it depends on the area you want to have a cursory look at it. For now, according to our constitution, youth terms begin from the age of 18. And of course, they will say till about 35 as well. So generally speaking, we can say that someone that could be classified as a youth is someone that has graduated from the adolescence stage, to becoming a young adult. And when you say someone is a young adult, then you can say the person is between the age of 18 to 35.
Okay. So are you a youth?
Of course I'm a youth.
Okay, because...
I'm a youth because, I'm slightly a bit above that age range, a bit, but I'm still below 40. I'm not yet 40. I'm sure you're surprised.
Okay. But by the definition of ages between 19 and 29, and even NYC, it's, I think, to 30, anything below 30. Yes. And then perhaps I could say none of us is a youth.
Yes, so like I said, I'm still below 40. So 29 is still below 40. 35 is still below 40. So
you're a youth.
I'm a youth.
Okay, now let's talk about youths in politics. I could recall the Not Too Young to Run signed to law in May 2018, and that reduced the ages, for so many offices. Office of the President from 40 to 35, House of Rep from 30 to 25, House of Assembly 30 to 25. and so on.
Yes.
And looking back, would you say that law has been fruitful? Because I could recall that the Director General of the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies and former Minister for National Planning, Professor Bakar Sulaiman, says less than 1% of Nigerian youths are holding elective offices.
First, I want to commend the not too young to run law because it has given a leverage to Nigerian youth to come on board and participate fully in politics. However, just as you have said, a lot of Nigerian youths have not been taking advantage of that leverage. And I will not want to entirely blame the Nigerian youth because it takes a lot of commitment for you to be involved and do very well in politics. And when I say do very well, I mean, first, the acceptability. A lot of things are involved in before you can get acceptable to the people. For instance, I didn't just start politics. And when you say I'm a politician, well, I accept that because I'm now fully into politics. But I see community service as the first note into politics. For me, that's how I see it. Because if you are within a particular space and you are waiting till you get into politics before you can let them understand the ideology, what you believe politics should be, then you are not really ready for the job. So in my position, what I did was that before I got fully into politics, from my corner, I was doing a lot of community service projects, a lot of it in education, in health, in infrastructure. You can go to our federal constituency to ask about SAWI. That's my platform name, which is Soyoye Akinyode Welfare Initiatives. And through that, before now, specifically we started since 2019, and we have been giving back massively to the communities.
Perhaps it was geared towards one day you be in politics, because at times we see that people tend to float a foundation, maybe just to position themselves. By the time they join politics, they will have
sincerely,
that goodwill.
Yes, sincerely, I must say that was not the situation in my case. In my case, I had some privileges where I was working, and I thought it wouldn't be a bad idea if I keep bringing this thing back home. That was what happened in my own situation, But things happened that we didn't expect. We experienced. I'm emotional right now about this. We experienced the demise of our performing rep. That's Rep. I don't want to say late because in my heart she's still not late. Rep. Ononuga Oriyomi, popularly known as Sijaya. I'm very emotional right now because she was like a mother to me. She was someone I always run to in the National Assembly, and she was always there for me. Again, she was a very performing rep because she happens to be the only honorable member from our constituency that got the principal officer position. And that has really positioned our federal constituency on the national table, attracted a lot of projects because by the virtue of her position. But so unfortunately for us, we lost her. And for somebody like me, who has been in the National Assembly since the 8th Assembly, and who has performed a lot of important legislative roles, I think it will be a disservice for me if things like this, if there is a vacuum in that space for our constituency, and somebody like me who already knows the terrain in the National Assembly now fold my hands and say it doesn't concern me. Again, the late rep was like a mother to me. We were close, we discussed projects appropriated to our federal constituency. He calls me, tell me, Soyoye, I've been able to do this. What do you think about it? We rub minds together. And all of a sudden, we lost her without preparing for any of this. So I felt it would be a disservice for me if I didn't come into the space now to put in my experience, my legislative experience, which I've been able to gather from the 8th Assembly from 2015, and use my professional link that I also have in the National Assembly as well. I'm very known to majority of the principal officers in the House of Reps. I consult for major committees in the House of Reps. I know how it works. They know me. I know the terrain. They know me. It will be like an accelerated, continuous progress if somebody like me steps into the space and do what's supposed to be done for our people. And that's why I found myself in politics. So when I said it was not the case for me, I was not preparing. I was not saying I want to position myself, and that's why I was doing the.
So are you saying
the welfare that I was doing?
The demise of Honorable, Oyemi Onanuga, interestingly, I think she was the third or fourth, a person that would interview on this same program.
Wow.
So someone I know quite well.
Wow, yes.
So are you saying that pushed you to join politics fully, or before her demise, wouldn't you regard yourself as a politician?
Of course, before our demise, I'm a politician because I'm a very core member of the APC. I've been contributing massively to the development of the party, and all of the projects we have been doing for our people through my welfare platform, I always accredit them to the opportunity I also have from the APC. So, of course, I'm a politician. I'm a core progressive. I'm a core party man. I believe in the ideology of the APC. I believe in the ideology of the leaders, of our leaders in APC. So, of course, I'm a politician. But don't get me wrong. You asked that most times people set up foundation to position themselves for political office. For me, I see that as being selfish if anybody does that, because the welfare of our people should not be on the table for anything. It should be sacrosanct. It should be what we should do for no reason. Politics or no politics, we should look forward to ensuring that our people have better lives. And that was what I was doing solely before I decided to come into the race to say, yes, I want to represent our federal constituency. And what actually mirrored my interest is because I have the experience. And if you take a very cursory look at, what this job really requires, I have all it takes. Well, that's why I said it wouldn't be a bad idea if I come into the race now.
Yeah,
do well for our people.
Some would say you've never, held an elected office. Experience regarding that, maybe some say that you are inexperienced. Maybe you're looking at the fact that you've been at the corridor of power, serving as a legislative aide. And what about that?
Okay, so everybody will step in one day. Nobody was born being elected to any position. Our president today was not president in 2015, but today is the president. Before he became the governor of Lagos State, he was not governor, but he served as governor. Before he became the senator of the Federal Republic, he was not the senator. So there is always a first step for everybody. It doesn't matter whether you have contested before and now you are contesting. There will always be a first time for everything, for everybody. But what matters is how prepared are you? What matters is what have you been doing before you say you now want your people to give you their mandates and represent them. And we have that. You can check our records. We've been doing massively well for our people in education. As I speak with you now, we are currently on education support program where we are giving out education support materials for all primary school students in Ikene, Shagam, Remonot. All primary 1 students and primary 6 students. We are putting a lot of resources together to support them. Well, their education.
Well, best of luck, in your pursuits.
Thank you.
But let's leave there. Now, looking at the cabinets, at the federal level,
yes,
will you say youths, have a fair representation?
Definitely, President Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, he's someone that is really conscious about the youth. I'm saying this because it's what I know. The current minister, Mr. Wisdom, is a friend, and you will know that having a youth occupying the youth ministry in Nigeria is something that is happening for the first time in the regime of President Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Also, if you take a look at the Minister of Interior, somebody I know personally as well, is a young person as well.
Well,
a lot of
based on the classification of
when you say youth and being a young person, youth may be specifically about the age.
Yeah.
But when you say young, You still have the age on your side. You still have the L.
You're talking about Lubumi Ojo?
Yes, definitely.
So
He's a young person. Have you met
He
him?
should be in his late, 40s, if not early 50s.
Yes, I accept that. But he's a young person at
so we are
mind.
going to say politically,
Yes.
where everybody claims to be young at heart.
Ev-
Even the president would say, I'm young at heart.
Yes, but somebody like Honorable Lubumi Jojo is also enjoying that young or youthful slot from Mr. President. Because Mr. President believes that we really need to prepare for the future of this country. And if we must prepare for the future of this country, we need to now bring in the young people to let them have a place on the table so that they can have experience, so that they can see how these things are done, so that they can have these close corrections when they make mistakes. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been good to Nigerian youths. You can see again, we are preparing for the youth confab, which has never happened, like I said, again, which has never happened in the history of this country.
But we don't even know when. I saw your interview, which you had, I think, 5 months ago.
Yes.
You're still talking about this confab.
Yeah.
Now, this is March, you're talking about this confab.
Yes.
So maybe you have a piece of information
as I speak with you now, they have rolled out modalities. Modalities are going on right now to say this is the shape, this is the structure the confab is going to take. But of course, something that has to do with the whole country, putting youth together from every part of the country requires proper planning.
Yeah.
I'm very certain that they are currently planning, but it will definitely happen. You can trust me on that. It will definitely happen.
Honorable, what do the youths want? Away from this formality of, okay, let's go and meet Mr. President, and in which, of course, not every youth will be there. It also gets to who should represent who. Youths want, a good economy that will generate employment. We all know that Nigeria has a youthful, population. Give us, a stable power, security, and basic amenities. You and I know the rates youths are leaving the country, particularly in the southwest or the southern part of Nigeria. So what youth wants, I think it goes beyond just having a confab.
Okay.
And I'm sure the president knows what youth want. I'm sure you know what youth want.
Okay, so let's get it straight. Mr. President is not just calling the youth to say, come to Abuja, come and eat burger. Mr. President is saying, come, let's dialogue. And from the dialogue, I can tell you, the youth will be able, Mr. President will be able to hear what the youth want and see how he can make these things happen. The first step to actualization of anything is conceptualization. So Mr. President, come, let's see. We are at the conceptual stage now to say, come, let's hear you out. What do you want? And like you said, of course, it's not going to be all youth that will be there. But based on the criteria they want to use, all youth from every federal constituencies will be represented. So if all youth from every federal constituency is represented, it means that all youth from 704 local governments in Nigeria are already represented, which means that eventually it will be on the large scale, it will be whatever outcome that comes from that confab, it will be the genuine voice of Nigerian youths, and I really want people that will be privileged enough to be on the confab to go and truly represent the Nigerian youth. A lot of people, when they have such opportunities, they think it's just an opportunity. But this is Mr. President giving us that opportunity to put our destiny in our hands. He wants to hear, what do you want? So it's very important for us to take this very seriously so that we can let him know what we actually want. Because
it's when you said President wants to know what we want, it's glaring, it's apparent. We all know what the youth wants. Everybody wants a better Nigeria.
Definitely.
A good economy that will generate employment for the youth, security.
Definitely.
Socio-economic development. That's what the youth want. So I don't think, not until we go to Abuja to say, okay, this is what we want. I don't think there's nothing we want except for what I've tabled. So are you sure that this confab really yield fruits? Are you sure it won't just be like normal meeting, the formality, people just come in, take pictures with presidents and post?
Thank you for mentioning that. But let me be specific about what the impact this confab will do for Nigeria. Everybody knows what we are facing as challenges as a nation. However, there are strategies at which we can tackle these problems. So what Mr. President is asking the youth to come over to do is to say, let's see your own solution strategies. Let's see how do you think we can excel in agriculture? How do you think we can excel in power? How do you think we can excel in the economy? How do you think we can excel in transportation? Let's hear your own opinion. Let's hear your view. Everybody knows what we are battling with in Nigeria as a nation, as a country. But what is the youth solution stratagem? Or what are the youth solution strategies? That's what Mr. President is saying. Come, let's say. And if you want to be sincere, you understand that our age is different from the age of our fathers. There are some privileges that we are having now that they are unable, that they are not exposed to, which has given us our own specific way of seeing life, our own specific way of doing things, our own specific way of saying there can be solution to this through this. And that's exactly what Mr. President wants to hear us say. So again, I want to appeal to the youth that will be opportune to go for this confab, to actually go with solution models to our problems. Agriculture, power, transportation, education. Let's go with solution strategies. Not just go there to take pictures, as I've said. And I'm sure the strategies they are going to use to pick these young minds, I'm sure it's going to produce the best results that the president is expecting to have.
Well, perhaps you'll be there yourself.
Well,
okay.
if I'm invited, I'll do well for my
I know
country.
you're also a senior research analyst, UN SDG,
Yes.
the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes.
I could recall it used to be MDGs,
Yes.
Millennium Development Goals.
Yes.
Now, its target has been set for 2030.
Yes.
17 goals.
Yes.
I mean, in as much as some countries have achieved many of these goals, where are we as a nation in SDG? What's the fuss about this SDG? In 2030, what will it change?
Okay, so again, I want to say that without being partisan or without trying to patronize the government, I am just speaking as a citizen. I want to say that I want to give kudos to the government of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because specifically for SDG, from our evaluation, Mr. President has done well in ensuring that a lot of these goals are met by 2030. And why I'm saying that is because when you put our performance on the scale with other African countries, you will see that Nigerians, we are actually doing very well. Of course, we cannot get it all straight at once. We cannot get it all good at once. But when we compare, what is South Africa doing? What is Nigeria doing? What is Namibia doing? What is Nigeria doing? What is Ghana doing? What is Nigeria doing? What is Niger Republic doing? What is Nigeria doing as regards SDG? Then you can see that we are actually moving forward in education, in provision of potable water supply for the people, in climate change. He has been really focal about all this. And
climate change, I mean, many African countries, because this climate is still a bit blurry.
Yeah.
Even Trump is saying we go back to dig to generate more, a few. And African countries are saying, well, what the Western countries want, I don't think is right time, for them to implement that regarding, climate change. Yeah. So climate change, I don't think we've done much. You did talk about education.
Yes.
I mean, have we also done much regarding education? If you look at the humongous number of out-of-school children, particularly up north, and that has become like a conundrum, how to tackle that. I don't think we've found a solution to that. So looking at some of these goals, let's just speak on education. I mean, how far have we gone? Maybe you could say this admission is still young, heading to the 2 years. So, I mean, we've not seen much in that area.
Again, like I said, I want to give kudos to the president of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on education as well. Yes, you have identified the problem.
Yeah.
But what is the country doing to address this problem? And that's where you know that we are actually doing well in addressing the problem we are having on education. And how has this government been able to tackle education? I'm sure that you are aware that President earlier last year established the out of school, elementary and out of school children commission. Are you aware of that? And it's also still to tackle the issue of out of school children. Again, we cannot just leave everything in the hands of the government. Privileged citizens also need to come into play to do this. For instance, for myself, I've been able to support the government in that regard. And that's why we are doing the education support program you see us doing. We are trying to ensure that we make education enticing to these children and make it convenient for them to go to school. So government on its side has established this commission to look at this out of school children problem. Like I said, is a step forward to tackling the education problem. If private citizens too, privileged ones, can come in and support the government in that regard, we'll also go a long way. Again, I also want to give kudos to our governor, Prince Governor Dakwa Abiodun Soyoye, for his giant strides on education. I'm sure that you know recently the federal government took over the ownership of Taishola University. But then a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Ogun citizens do not know that that is like the step or what the federal government has seen to complement Governor Dakwa Abiodun's efforts in education. Governor Dakwa Abiodun has been able, through the Honorable Commissioner for Education, have been able to digitalize education in Ogun State. You know, now if you want to go to secondary school, primary schools, you have this digitalization process, which has made it very easy to track, students in any school in Ogun State. It has made it easy to track the performance of any student in Ogun State. It has made it easy to evaluate the overall activities of the teachers, the pupils, the students, for the government to be able to know how to come in to further support education. This clarity has helped this government to further push education in the state forward. And I want to say that is something to really applaud for the government of the state. So overall, like I said, we cannot solve all the problem in one day. But what are we really doing to tackle this problem? Are they going to be sustainable? Will they really tackle this problem? If we can answer this question, then we can see we are on the right track of making education better. Well, and for the federal government, for the state government, I want to give kudos to them. They are doing well as regards education.
Well, 5 years to go. 2030 is not it's not far-reaching. So can we achieve all this in 5 years? Looking that it seems we still have a long way to go.
The 2030 target was laid by the United Nations. I'm sure you know that. And like you said, SDG metamorphosed from MDGs. I'm sure that if by 2030, the United Nations deemed it fit to say, okay, we have not been able to achieve much, there could be an extension to the target. However, that should not make us, lazy to say they will extend it. We need to also still continue to put all hands on deck to ensure that by 2030, we are able to achieve maximally progress as regards these various SDG goals. And I'm sure that with the determination of Mr. President, Nigeria would do well. I'm sure Nigeria would do well in, if not all, majority of the SDG goals. I'm certain about that. And if we could, give this government, more time. I'm not this person that would say time, but as we know, Nigeria is a country that we need somebody that understands how things should be done. You need to have that clarity before you can make things happen. Because if we continue to say, okay, this hardship is much, it's not easy, things is not easy out there. But again, for us to achieve, maximum success, we need to cooperate with the government and see that.
Yeah,
I'm driving at something, and I'll give you a patent example. What is causing? I don't want to sound as if I'm holding brief for this government, but I'm talking as a private citizen. That what is causing the major hardship we are going through in Nigeria? You say, oh, they remove subsidy, and are we not seeing the success of removing subsidy now? Now we can see that petrol prices are crashing. on their own. Why? Because the things that will make it crash are now in play. The competition, the regulation that we have been looking for in the oil sector is now here to stay. And the more we have more key players come up on board as regards, setting up refineries in Nigeria, supporting the government in this aspect, we'll continue to see this, prices coming down.
Yeah. I mean,
And
but
which will translate to making life much more easier.
But
for
when
our
the
people.
subsidy was removed, because the perception out there is it was removed too quickly. I can remember the inauguration speech that the
Yes.
president had, and he made that statement, and instantly, the fuel price went up. So some felt that was too quick. Maybe it was removed when. Because it was removed when Dangote was still coming up.
Yes.
We had not started full
Yes.
operation.
Yes.
Maybe it was removed when Dangote had started full operation. Perhaps would have been a bit bearable. Because looking at the hardship Nigerians had to go through.
Sincerely, do you want me to be sincere with you now? If the president had postponed that pronunciation, it would mean that we'll be postponing the doomsday, because we will still feel the hardship anytime the president declares subsidy.
No, the president may declare the removal when Dangote, that time Dangote would have started the full operation.
Yes.
So it will just be this time, or maybe the subsidy would have been removed in phases and not a complete removal.
Okay, so if subsidy had been removed in phases, do you think we would have been able to achieve this success we have achieved in the oil and gas sector?
Well, it was coming even from the Buhari's government.
Yes.
That was when we knew that Dangote would start full operation, but they began to extend and extend.
Yes.
So we knew this would definitely come. And yes.
And that's my point. So whenever it comes, there will still be this hardship that will come with it, no matter what. But look at what we have been able to achieve since 2023 and now. The prices are crashing by the day. And I can tell you for free.
But it's moved from 180 to 500.
Yes.
500 at some point 12.
Yes.
So it has come down to like it's.
Do you have an idea of what was happening?
So are you saying it will go back to the initial price? Will it ever get there?
Definitely.
Would it ever?
Definitely. I'm saying that to you confidently. You can put this on record. Definitely.
Okay.
Do you know why? Because the more major key players comes into the sector, the more deregulation we experience and the more competition. Is this competition, this market play, that makes prices drop themselves? I mean, if you listen to one of the media chat Mr. President had, I think that was on January 1st, he said he believes in market play. And that's what every sound economist will want to go for, because by nature, if market play comes to play, things will fall in place themselves. Boa is also trying to come up with another refinery in Akwa Ibom. Are you aware of that?
Sure.
If this comes on board, definitely we still experience more competition, which will reflect to crash pricing for Nigerians, which will mean prices of things will start coming down. You understand? And again, NNPC too have now been charged to also go into full operation. They are coming back on board, and if they fully come back on board, that will also translate to a gain for Nigerians. So all we need to just do is to be patient with this process, because eventually it will turn out well for everybody. Again, I repeat it, the prices will come down.
But another elephant in the room would be, the foreign exchange. The president floated, or let's say the CBN, the president floated Naira.
Yes.
Until now, some felt maybe we shouldn't have done that. It's really devalued the Naira. It's dealt the Naira, a big punch, and we are still yet to recover. Yeah, though the price of fuel may be coming down, but it's not even reflecting. In transport fares, the drivers would tell you, car parts are expensive, and these car parts are always imported. So how can we? So two things drive inflation: fuel, then that of the
foreign exchange.
Yeah,
for foreign exchange, of course, you have said it, that is looking like we are not having any gains on that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, that soon. And why I'm saying this is because the major driver for a wealthy, forex sector is when you have a lot of FDIs coming into the country.
How many FDIs have we seen? In retrospect,
Okay,
do you think
sorry.
Okay. That was the right one? In retrospect now, because how many FDIs have come? Instead of them coming in, many left. You can count like 6 multinational companies that left. So where are the FDIs?
Good. You have seen Mr. President making some very serious trips around the country lately, majorly to the Arab world, trying to let them understand that, okay, we are open for business now. Most times when it comes to investment and investing in Africa, the foreigners, they see Africa as that opportunity. They see it as that place they need to go, to make very huge opportunity. However, there are a lot of things holding them back. If we do not handle these things holding them back, then these FDIs will not come. And that's what Mr. President is doing now, trying to also want to make the level of doing business, trying to ease the means of doing business in Nigeria, trying to ensure that we have good image at the international scene.
But
trying to see that
has nothing to do with the floating of the naira.
Floating of naira is simply trying to say, okay, we cannot keep pretending that we have good, stable forex exchange. Again, let market play decide what USD should be in our economy and what naira should be in our economy. If we do that, it will remind us of the fact that we need to work hard to ensure that FDI must come in. We need to work hard to ensure that our local businesses thrive. Because when FDI comes in and we're able to also export, that is when we can ensure that we have a lot of foreign exchange coming into our economy. But if there is nothing pushing us to do that, how are we going to ever do that?
And
you can see Mr. President being loud about businesses coming up, Nigerian businesses now coming up, thriving, and that's why you can see the support is given the Dangote refinery. Just this afternoon, I was still with Mr. Governor to inspect the Itori Dangote cement plant. That's a very huge one. There. And if that comes to play, when it comes to full operation, it will also encourage other businesses within that community, not even within the state, because it's a value chain. And when we give room for more businesses like that, we see our economy coming back to shape. And that's what Mr. President is doing. Mr. President is saying, come to Nigeria, come and do business here. We have the resources, we have the market, because we are the most populous black nation in the world. So we have the market, we have the resources. Come in. And these things will not just happen overnight. Like I said, there are some factors that must be considered, that we need to make this thing work before we can see the business actually come in. And that's what Mr. President is tackling for now. You can see the achievements we have achieved in security. Mr. President is very serious about our security, and he's doing a lot to ensure that we are safe. When the message goes out of Nigeria to say, okay, Nigeria is safe now, then we'll definitely see business coming in. When the message goes out to, out of Nigeria to say, it's very easy to do business in Nigeria now, then you see business thriving. And you can see the support the government is giving local businesses, to ensure that businesses comes up, to ensure that our SMEs is empowered. These are the things that will drive the economy naturally. They will drive the economy naturally, and we will not have the issue of, forex not being stable, going up today, coming down tomorrow. When our local businesses are empowered, when we have the safe communities, when we have very straightforward means of doing businesses, you see these things coming up.
Yeah, but talking about security is not yet Uhuru, because banditry still here, kidnapping, it's always disturbing to hear people paying, a ransom, where there's inner hand, there's so much. Why can't we track, these abductors? So yeah, we still have the security challenges. Lakurawa we have is a new, a
Yes.
terrorist group. The terrorists or the bandits in Sokoto, Samfara, Bello Tunji, we still hope that maybe very soon the army will nab him. So the challenges are still here. Whereas some people are even saying, can we decentralize the security architecture? Let's have the state policing. Let's reorganize things, security-wise. So we still don't know the dimension, this structure will take.
You see, what we're experiencing in Nigeria is that the security problem is metamorphosing, it's changing. And that's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. Before President Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board, you will discover that what was prevalent is terrorism. That was what Boko Haram was everywhere. Boko Haram was even almost entering Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. But are we hearing about Boko Haram now? Are we hearing about terrorism now? So it is very normal that problem will keep evolving. But what are we doing to nip this problem in the bud? And that's why that's what is happening in Nigeria today. Our security problem has metamorphosed from terrorism because to a large extent we have been able to nip that in the bud. But now it's now getting to kidnapping, it's getting to robbery, it's getting to, So I believe the government they are working on nipping this in the bud as well. But that nothing much has been done on our security architecture. I don't want to believe that is true because, like I asked you, like I said, are we still having the issue of terrorism in Nigeria today? It has metamorphosed. And it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. That happens anywhere in the world. So it is now, the onus is on us now to understand that this is what is actually happening in our security space. That this problem are now metamorphosing. They have changed from terrorism to banditry, And I believe with that understanding, we'll be able to nip that in the bud as well and prepare for future security problems.
Yeah, this Japa, syndrome, do you think is disturbing to the federal government? Do they feel it's something they have to address, perhaps profiling solutions for Nigerians? Do you even see it as a problem? Do you see it as a brain drain for the nation?
The Japa syndrome is actually a problem. I have to tell you that because there is a push and pull factor which is making this happening to us in Nigeria today. The push factor there, and is what we have mentioned, insecurity, economic situation. And the pull factor over there, we keep seeing that place as the greener pasture. So it's still there. I was still at a high-profile diaspora discussion about 2 weeks ago, which was a research study put together by NIDCOM and NISA. And this was discussed. The chairman of NIDCOM, Honorable Abuka Dabiri, was there, and she was able to say it loud that the government is disturbed about the Japa syndrome. However, you cannot limit the movement of people. You cannot say they should not travel, when they want to travel. But again, it's a call for the government to ensure that the push factors are taken care of. When you feel what you can have there, you can have it here. Why leave your family? Why leave your friends? Why leave your properties and say you want to go over there? So it's a call for the government to ensure that we expedite actions on the push factors, things that are pushing our people out of the country, situations that are pushing professionals out of Nigeria, situations that are pushing, the energetic age group, of Nigeria out of Nigeria. It's very important we do that. And again, like I said, based on what Honorable Akodabiri said in the study that we had, you know that government is also putting efforts together to ensure that the push factors are taken care of.
Okay, and now let's talk about legislature. I mean, you've been in that corridor, for some years. You were there, the 8th Assembly, led by Bukola Saraki.
Yes,
you're also there, part of the 9th Assembly, led by Senator Ahmad Lawan.
And Right Honorable Fumba Bamila at the Green Chamber, at the House of Representatives.
Yes, oh yeah,
yes.
The Green Chamber. Then now we're talking about the 10th Assembly, led by Goswi, Akpabio.
Yes.
Then that of Abbas.
Yes, at the House of Representatives.
The House of Representatives. So now some Nigerians feel, we have a rubber stamp, legislature. And maybe the last time we could say, okay, we saw a kind of legislature that was not always in agreement with the federal government, and that would be the eighth legislature. It may be because of the fact that, yes, at some point, Saraki defected to
Opposition
PDP.
party, yeah.
But in the Ninth Assembly, some believe it was placid, somewhat, just pass every bill, that came to their table. It seems we are seeing a repeat of that in the 10th Assembly. It seems Nigerians are clamoring for better representation.
That's not true. And I'm saying this with a smile because I'm there. And I can tell you for free that it's not until you see people throwing chairs, that's when you say they are in disagreement with the executive arm. As a matter of fact, we don't even need to have, a disagreed legislative and executive arm. They need to be in harmony for the development of the country. How you can evaluate a performing legislature is to say how many bills are turned to law in favor of Nigerians.
But are we not having too many laws? Many Nigerians don't even know some of the laws
let me give
have.
Let me give you a personal example. This student loan that we are enjoying today was a bill from the Ninth Assembly.
The enjoyment is even relative.
How do you say relative? People are receiving money. Students are receiving loan. The reports are there, transparently done. Reports are coming out every day, published on newspapers, how much funds were transferred to each university that are beneficiaries.
Why not perturbed? How will they pay back when employment is not guaranteed?
The modalities are there. The modalities are there. Like I said, you see, we cannot solve all these problems in one day. If we detect a problem, what can make us safe to say, okay, I think we are moving forward, is to say, what strategy do we have on ground to tackle these problems? You understand? Nigeria is a country now trying to escape, let me use that word, from series of problems that we have had in the past. So you cannot expect everything to happen in one day. But are we making progress? Yes, the NEL fund was not there before now. Again, the deregulation of the oil and gas sector that we're talking about is also a product of the Ninth Assembly, the PIB law that transformed to PIA is what that has liberated the oil and gas sector. So are we really making advancements when it comes to making laws that will help Nigeria move forward? That is, for me, I think that is how we can evaluate if a legislature is active or not. And if you take a consideration from this angle, you will see that we are active. Because Nigerians are expecting that the speaker will abuse the president or the Senate president will abuse the president, and that's when you say you have an active legislature. No. In fact, they must be in harmony.
No.
Okay.
Being in harmony could be subjective.
You should ask me why I said so. Because if, no matter how brilliant your bill is, no matter how they can translate the development for the country, if the president do not assent to it, then it can't make any transformation to Nigeria.
There are also things that if the House does not assent to it, the president may not.
And that's why I said they have to
implement.
That's why I said they have to be in harmony. So that even if the bill initiated from the legislature is good, the president will not say because I'm not in good terms with the Senate president, I won't assent to it. Nigerians will suffer it. If there is an executive initiated bill coming to the House, and because the Senate president is not cool with the president and say, I won't assent to this, which was the case we had in the past, it's still Nigerians that will suffer it. So we should not expect that we'll always see a legislature that will be in bitterness with the executive or executive that will be in bitterness with the legislature. How we can evaluate a performing legislature is the quality of bills that are transformed into laws, which has helped the lives of Nigerians.
Then we should also not close our eyes to the fact that the legislature, could also checkmate the executive.
Yes, and they are doing that. And I'll give you a patent example to that. When, even recently, CBN came up with some charges, additional charges that will be added to when you withdraw money from the bank, when you withdraw money from the ATM, what has been the response of the National Assembly, especially the House of Representatives? They kicked against it. That it can't happen. You're not talking about that. You know, Nigerians want to see the legislature saying the president is bad. They want to see a legislature where executive arm where they will say the president will say the Senate president is bad, and that's when we will think the harms are working. You know, but that is very wrong. We need to see the products of both arms and evaluate what has it translated to for Nigerians. If it's good for Nigerians, then we can say they are doing well. And that's why I would say the tenure of Right Honorable Gbajabiamila, of course, was a blessing to Nigeria. And the current tenure of Right Honorable Abbas is also a blessing to Nigeria. You know, because if you look at the quality of bills that are coming out, recently, the president asserted to the creation of about 4 universities, federal universities. They're not talking about that.
But when you talk about
their legislature initiated bills. They're not talking about that.
No.
And I know your question. You want to say, how does that translate to development for Nigeria, right?
Because we've gotten to a stage that, I mean, everybody wants to pass a bill, let's create more universities, and even the existing universities, you are saying...
Okay. Are you aware of the university that was recently asserted to by Mr. President in Ogoni? University of Environment, you know. Do they really need that in that environment or not? They need it. It's not just about creating university. It's about creating university that will give the need that Nigeria needs. And even, don't let us see it from the broader perspective.
Because we're also at a point when universities are, part of the federal universities are calling for more funding. We've heard from ASU every time. Well, ASU is not even comfortable with this student loan.
Yes.
Before this administration, they were asking for, I think, 2 trillion naira revitalization fund and all of that. So when I see more creation of universities, I just feel, well, can we really meet up with the proper funding of our universities? Check the top 1,000. I mean, you barely find any Nigerian university, unlike how it was those days. Check the top 20 in Africa. So what are you now saying?
I think it's not correct for you to juxtapose the importance of creation of universities, with funding of ASU, funding of the universities. That will always be a continuous discussion. It will always be a continuous, because our society is not static. Our society is moving. And when laws are not addressed, they remain static. So there is a need for those decisions to be coming, so that our laws can be can be attended to, to relate to what is happening to us now.
Okay,
so it's always be a continuous discussion.
Okay, because our time is fast spent. Yeah. But Nigerians are also calling for, cutting the costs of governance. Saying the cost of governance is too expensive in this part of the world. Perhaps instead of a bicameral legislature, can we be thinking of a unicameral, legislature? Can the president also cut his cabinet? So are you also seeing what some Nigerians are seeing? We have how many senators now?
We are practicing.
We buy cars for them, the jumbo pay. Till now, many Nigerians don't even know the exact amounts. Each senator receives the exact amounts. Each representative in the Green Chamber receives. Many Nigerians don't know, and these are public office holders.
When you talk about that governance in Nigeria is expensive, everybody tends to talk about the legislature, legislative arm, and majority of these things given to the legislators that you hear on TV sometimes are not true.
The brand new cars, not true.
Okay, it's true, but for the cars, it's true, but
the jumbo pay, not
but
true.
Is there a need for those cars? Yes, and I'll give a part example. There are some members that have 4 local governments in one federal constituency, and their constituents expect them to visit them regularly. They expect them to be on ground. They expect them to come check them regularly to see what's going on there firsthand. You need a good utility vehicle to do that.
Yeah, you need a Land Cruiser
Of course.
to do that.
Of course, you need. Okay, the Night Assembly didn't give Land Cruiser.
And that comes every
I hope you know.
yeah, I know, but that comes every 4 years.
Yes.
So as a two-time lawmaker,
I hope
as
you
a
know. You
three-time
didn't answer that.
lawmaker,
You didn't answer
as a
that.
three-time lawmaker, I have three. So and a brand new car is a lifespan really 4 years.
You didn't answer that.
Was
Are you aware that the Night Assembly did not give Prado? Because you mentioned Land Cruiser.
no SUV? So
It's not even an SUV. It's
Okay.
a Camry. It's a car that the Night Assembly gave.
okay, but
It's
the
a
10th
car.
Assembly,
Of course, the Assembly gave Land Cruiser. And like I said,
and at a point when Nigerians were, saying, "Oh, the economy is too." Had the hardship on people. So if the 9th Assembly didn't give, you said give Camry, but the 10th Assembly amidst this hardship.
is it needed or not? Yes, it is. People that have about 4 local governments and they are constantly expecting them to always want to come and check up on them, they need good utility vehicles to make all these things happen. Do you understand? And you said they will give them every 4 years. You said they will give them every 4 years, right? What about people? Are you aware also that for every legislative sessions or years, new members also come up on board? So are we not going to say because somebody's returning to the house the 4th time or the 3rd time, we are not giving cars this legislative year or this legislative session?
That it's more juicy for the old members because they tend to collect every 4 years.
Then if you're always coming back to represent your people, it means you are doing well. It means they're enjoying what you're doing. Because let me tell you, again, it's important for us to know this, that National Assembly is not what everybody think it is. Everybody think that you come to National Assembly and you pick money on the floor of the house, or you pick money on the corridor, of the National Assembly. It's not so. Majority of this budget you see, you have to lobby for them. You have to lobby to bring them to your people. Yes, you have a statutory constituency allowance, of course, which is appropriated in the budget for projects for your people to cover their needs, what they need, infrastructural needs, educational needs, healthcare needs, But you discover that even what is appropriated to each federal constituency, because of what is going on in Nigeria now, is not even enough. So you have to lobby outside your constituency allowance to see that you are able to do more for your people.
That's not even the primary responsibility
exactly,
of a lawmaker.
yes.
So because the people also know this, they know about this largesse, so they tend to ask their representative, "Oh, I've not paid my children's school
I'm
fees."
not even talking about that.
No, I'm talking about frivolous needs,
Yes.
because I've had senators, I've had federal lawmakers
Yes.
on these seats, and at
Yes.
times they tend to say the needs are too much. These frivolous
It's
needs
unfair
are too
because
much.
it's putting
but
pressure.
people are also hearing that their representative is collecting one jumbo pay.
What's
So why wouldn't they?
What's
So
the jumbo pay?
I mean,
the monthly salary of House of Representative members is less than 15 million. That I know for sure. Is less than 15 million. You can confirm this, I said anyway. Put it on record. It's less than 15 million.
well,
So the jumbo, the way it's colored, I don't think it is so.
Well, time is fast spent.
Thank you.
Honorable Akinyode Soyoye. Maybe we'll continue with this. The discussion we can't exhaust this. There always be talks about many thanks.
Thank you very kindly for having me.
Seats.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's the show. My guest, Honorable Akinyode Soyoye, a chartered member, Nigerian Institute of Management, a fellow Legislative Mentorship Initiative, UN SDGs Senior Research Analyst, Senior Legislative Aide. I may serve in that position from 2015 to 2021. That's where we end this show today. Many thanks for watching. Till next week, when I come your way with another personality, I say to you, stay blessed. Bye for now.